Hello fellow coffee botherers, I'm Kev from coffeeblog.co.uk, and in this video I'm going to be doing a milk steaming tutorial video specifically for low cost espresso machines. I've done a milk steaming tutorial, a few actually, on the Sage Bambino Plus or the Breville Bambino Plus if you're not in the UK, and click here for that. I've done one for the Gaggia Classic Pro, and again click here for that, but I've had some comments asking for milk steaming guides on other machines, including some of these cheaper domestic espresso machines. And the reason I do these tutorials is that there are some great milk steaming and latte art pouring tutorials on YouTube, but most of them are done with commercial espresso machines. When I started off on my home barista journey, I was really confused on watching these kind of videos with why I couldn't get the same results with the machines I was using. And I learned over time that it's because there's a completely different technique for steaming milk with domestic machines versus steaming milk with much more powerful commercial machines. It's completely different. So I'm going to be using the Swan Retro, the Delonghi EC685 and the Gran Gaggia for this video, showing you how to get the best milk texture with these three machines. The Aldi Ambiano and the Kmart Anko, by the way, are the same machine as the Swan Retro, and as far as I'm aware, the Cookworks espresso machine and the Klarstein Espresso Gusto are also the same machines internally. So if you have any of these machines, the Swan Retro steaming tutorial should be relevant. But to be honest, other than the Delonghi, which has two options and slightly different, you're going to find that it's basically the same technique with most of these low cost espresso machines. So let's get on with it. So I'm going to be using the Motta 500ml 17 ounce jug or pitcher for these demonstrations. You'll have to use this jug, obviously, other jugs are available. Fill the jug up just to about the start of the indentation of the spout. I'd always do that with these kind of jugs. Some jugs are a little bit different. Some jugs don't really have an indentation, but that normally gives you an indication of where to fill it to, I find. Going to put it in, put the jug flat, the surface of the milk flat, and then just slightly angle the base of the jug out. Not quite as much as you would with the Gaggia Classic Pro and the Sage Bambino Plus. I find that just because of this pipe, you only need to do it slightly. So you're just jutting the base out ever so slightly that way. And then I find what works best with these lower cost espresso machines that don't have the same kind of steam power is to start off with about 5 seconds of just rolling. So you just put in the steam in, slight angle, and you're trying to get the vortex started, and then you drop the jug slightly so you start to get the aeration. That sounds like ripping paper or hissing. And you probably want to do that with a machine like this for around about 35-40 seconds. As you go along, you'll learn from that, and you'll see sometimes your milk might be a bit too stiff, sometimes it might be a bit too wet, and you know, too much foam for you or not enough foam, and that will give you an indication of maybe keep that aeration phase up for longer or for not as long. And then once you've done that, you just lift the jug up slightly to stop that aeration and just keep it spinning. Try and keep the vortex going, keep it heating up until it reaches about 60, 65 degrees or whatever your preferred milk temperature is. And then stop, spin the jug or spin the milk in the jug, swirl it to polish it off and then pour. So let's do that. I've taken the Panarello wand off the plastic sheath thing, which just slides off, revealing the steam pipe I'm going to use as a single hole steam tip. I'm going to be timing this using the Black Mirror scales. You can click this link here to see that video that I uploaded recently, and I'm timing it just to give you an idea of how long to do each phase for. Purge the wand, the pipe. See, there's quite a lot of power in this tiny little machine. Notice I've got that hissing paper sound. Hang on a minute. Have it? Yeah, there you go. You can hear that. I've been doing that so far for about 15 seconds. And try and do that off and on for about 35 seconds. 35. And then lift it up slightly, the hissing paper sound stops. Tilt the jug a little bit more, making sure that I've got that vortex going. And if you can see in the jug from this angle, but the milk is spinning, there's a vortex. This is what I'm after. For about a minute. And I haven't got a thermometer, but I can tell you that's about 65. Somewhere between 60 and 65. Which I think is about perfect. So, steam off. Purge the wand. Always wipe the wand. Spin it like that, just to polish it off. One thing you can do, by the way, is knock it from side to side, and you should see sort of 2 lumps forming. That gives you an indication of the texture. Let's see if I can avoid making a complete pig's ear of it. Not bad, considering I'm doing it at a really weird angle. That's my excuse, so that you can see it. So the Swan Retro, now also known as Kmart Anko and Aldi Ambiano and various other names. What's good about this machine is you can't see it because I've got the camera angled down at the wand, but I can see exactly, well, what it's telling me the temperature is. Heats up pretty quick, and I can see where we're up to when it comes to steam temperature. I'm not far off. With this machine, you've got a little bit longer length on this pipe. You take the panarello off, so you've got a little bit better reach into the jug than with the Gran Gaggia, to be honest. But it's a very similar thing, very similar position. Just jug about level or milk surface about level, and then just a slight tilt. And I'm going to do a pre-roll phase, just rolling the milk first for again about 5, maybe 6 seconds before I start the aeration. Aeration will probably be 35, 40 seconds, something like that. And then I'll lift the jug up and just keep it rolling, keep the microfoam distributing throughout the rest of the milk while it's heating up to about 60, 65 degrees. Rolling for 5 seconds and then start the aeration. Ripping paper sound again. Now, just lifting the jug up slightly, just spinning the milk and heating the milk now. Just distributing that microfoam while heating it up. No more aeration required. So it's a little bit slower than the Gran Gaggia, just slightly. I'm ready. pretty good texture. It's not perfect latte art because I'm using instant coffee, I'm afraid. But as you can see, the texture of the milk is not bad at all. And that's from a very cheap espresso machine. So just to recap, with these machines, jug in with the surface of the milk flat, bury the tip, tilt the bottom of the jug out just slightly, get the milk rolling, so you don't want the ripping paper sound, you don't want the aeration to begin with, you just want the milk rolling to begin with, maybe 5-6 seconds to start that vortex, start the swirling. Then drop the jug slightly, you get that hissing paper sound. We'll probably have that for about 40 seconds or so, and then lift the jug up slightly. And at that point, you're just carrying on with the vortex, keeping the milk spinning and heating up the milk until it's around 60, 65 degrees or whatever you want to heat your milk up to. And that's that. Simple. So with the Delonghi Dedica, it's slightly different. There's two ways you can do it. One is to remove this panorama. You have to put a cable tie around this. If you watch my video top right of the screen, you'll see when I reviewed this machine, I didn't realise that, and this pipe kept popping off, splashing me, making me jump. And I've not got a cable tie with me today, so I'm not going to be able to demonstrate. I forgot to bring any, but just to show you, if I was, it's very, very similar as with the other two machines and demonstrated. You just put the tip of the pipe into the milk like that with the milk surface level, and then just jut it out slightly. And the same process, about 5-6 seconds of just rolling before you drop the jug slightly to start the aeration, that ripping paper or hissing sound. Oops. For around 35-40 seconds, something like that, and then lift the jug up. You just keep the milk rolling and keep it heating up until you've reached your desired milk temperature. The other way to do it with this machine, and this is unique to the Delonghi Dedica, I don't know of any other machines that do this, and that is you've got a hot milk setting on this Panarello and a cappuccino setting. So to do this the same way, and it was actually a fellow coffee botherer who told me this method. It was a revelation, and that is when you want to just roll, you have it at hot milk. When you want to just carry on heating it up, you keep it at hot milk. When you want it to aerate, you put it down to cappuccino. So it's going to be the same process, but instead of lifting it up, lifting the jug up and dropping the jug down, I'm going to lift this up and drop that down, as I will demonstrate. So let's turn the steam on, and we want to start off at hot milk. That's going to be the same as starting off dipping the tip, slightly dip to roll the milk. So I'm going to have it hot milk for 5-6 seconds, cappuccino for 35-40 seconds or so, and back up to hot milk again for the rest. Steam's ready. So we're going to start off with the hot milk setting. 5-6 seconds, and then drop it to cappuccino. poured a little bit of that milk out because I've stretched it a little bit more than I wanted to really. And the trick is when you've done that is to just tip a bit of the top bit of foam out before you start swirling it, so that you've got rid of some of the thicker, stiffer foam. That looks okay to me. There you go. And that is basically from a Panarello steam wand. So to be able to get that from a Panarello steam wand is amazing. As I said, it was a revelation to me when a fellow coffee brother told me you could do that. So all I did was, I did have the jug on a very slight angle, but didn't need to put it on too much of an angle because the Panarello sort of comes down at a slight angle anyway. So all I'm doing is hot milk for 5-6 seconds on the Panarello setting, flicking it down to cappuccino for 35-40 seconds, back up again to hot milk, just to keep the milk spinning, keep the vortex going and heating the milk up. So I don't need to move the jug up and down, I can just do it with that. And as you can see, it's done a pretty good job. So there you go. Hopefully that'll help you to improve results with steaming milk with one of these machines or another similar low-cost espresso machine. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch another one. And don't forget, if you want to become an official coffee botherer, you need to click this image around here somewhere to subscribe to our channel. Tatty bye.